Danielle. I'm good. How are you? I just started. Oh my gosh.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. We have folks who are still working their way into our sanctuary. That's all good. We can welcome them in song. That's not bad. And the words that we will use to welcome them can be found at the top of page 10 in the prayer book. Top of page 10, the psalmist said, Hine ma tov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. How good, how pleasant it is for us to be together on this Shabbat as we prepare to launch into the festival of light. Let our voices be the light. Join with me. Hine ma tov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. Ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. This is Leo Beck Temple. You must sing. Let's hear it. Shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. All right, just you this time. Let's hear it. Shevet achim gam yachad. I know you may be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, I thought that was our rabbi over there. It is your rabbi. That's Rabbi Scott Goldberg. He's just an extremely talented guy. And so he's kind of, the multi-purpose player. If we need a percussionist, Rabbi Scott Goldberg. Need a pianist, Rabbi Scott Goldberg. Need a guitarist, Rabbi Scott Goldberg. Need a rabbi, Rabbi Scott Goldberg. And so I strongly recommend, we're going to be actually formally installing Rabbi Scott Goldberg on the third Shabbat in January. After that new year, yeah. You want to make sure that we fill this place with a lot of love for our brand new, multi-talented, multi-instrumental rabbi. And so tonight, we have this really special Shabbat evening. Well, every Shabbat is special. Every week, we spend this one day setting aside all of the distractions and cares, all the things that tend to mess us up inside, make us get obsessed about the little things and sort of forget about all the big important stuff. That's what the week does to us, right? You get kind of immersed in the minutia, and the next thing you know, the Shabbat comes, and hopefully it's an opportunity to take that metaphorical step back and take notice of really what's most important in our lives. That's what this day is supposed to do. Now, it so happens this particular Shabbat is situated in such a way that it enables us to do so perhaps with an added measure of joy, because we are just 2 nights away. When the sun goes down, 2 nights from now, it will be the Festival of Light, Chag Urim Sameach. I'm going to wish to each and every one of you a festival of light to be filled with joy and happiness. Raise your hand if you're going to be lighting them Hanukkah lights, starting 2 nights from now. That looks unanimous. I like that. Very good. We're going to be sending you all kinds of special goodies to help inspire your Hanukkah. In fact, at the center of the planning, all of those special Hanukkah goodies for you was Rabbi Scott Goldberg. It's becoming kind of a theme tonight.
Hanukkah is dedicated to Rabbi Scott Goldberg.
Can I tell you? It's actually not his installation, and it's just sounding like it is. Rabbi Goldberg helped us to plan, our whole team, a series of videos that we'll be sending out to you each and every night of Hanukkah. You'll be getting a little special gift from all of us on the senior staff and clergy team to help inspire a little added measure of meaning in your Hanukkah celebrations. 2 nights from tonight, the festival begins. But if you do your math, then tonight is December 16th. So we will have our Friday night, that is the celebration of Hanukkah, coincides this year with December 23rd. How many of you are going to be traveling or doing something far away on December 23rd? Let's see. Lots of hands going up. Yes, not everybody. And so we were like, well, why don't we just kind of do a let's get ready kind of night here. We're here for you, Leah Temple. Try the veal. It's really good. We decided we were going to have a big giant celebration in anticipation of Hanukkah this year. That would enable us to enjoy all the Hanukkah goodies, the Hanukkah crafts, the Hanukkah games, the Hanukkah dinner, all those things that we've enjoyed over Hanukkah's past for many, many years. And it will hopefully whet our appetites for an especially joyful Hanukkah to begin 2 nights from now. And so all of that enables us to enter into this particular Friday night with an added intensity, a readiness to welcome light into our hearts and our lives and to celebrate the light that is already there, that sometimes our eyes are too much closed. We don't even see some of that light. And so we're going to use the words of the psalmist to help us get there. If you turn to your supplemental page, you will see at the upper left-hand corner the words from Psalm 92. This is one of the psalms that the mystics of our tradition picked out especially for this little walkway into Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat. They said that we should sing some of these psalms, this one picked among them, because it would help to open our hearts and help us to make that turn from a week that was filled with all the chaos of the week in order to make room in our hearts and our lives for celebrating Shabbat. And so we've got these words, Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. They mean simply, it is good for us to give thanks. Good for us to give thanks for those blessings in our lives and to do so in song. And so I'm going to invite you to do so in song with me right now. Upper left-hand corner of the supplemental page, Tov lehodot l'Adonai.
Tov lehodot l'Adonai uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai uzamer l'shimcha elyon. On this the day of days, my lips shall sing your praise, for I know that you'll always be surrounding me. Tov ulsamer. Ulsamer. My spirit takes release. I close my eyes in peace, and from my soul, heard far above, springs a song of love. It's here, yeah. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. I wish to understand the wonders of your hand, for all the blessings that are mine rise from your design. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulzamer l'shimcha. Let's hear your voices. Tov. Tov. That is the beauty of the sound of this sanctuary. Rabbi.
We are on page 20 and 21. L'chag Dodi. We greet this Shabbat as we would at the celebration of two partners coming together in love. We're going to do verses 1 and 2 on 20 and 5 and 9 on 21.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבורך, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
Top of 21.
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה
הנה שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה הנה שבת נקבלה.
We rise and face the entrance, bottom of 21.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה
תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה
לך דודי לקראת כלה הנה שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה הנה שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה הנה שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה הנה שבת נקבלה.
We continue standing for our call to worship. The Baruch Hu is on 28.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Yai lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
You may be seated. When we think of Hanukkah, we often think of the Maccabees and their struggle against the Greeks to pursue their own religious autonomy and also their self-determination, that they persisted against all odds to defend their identity. And this is a message that has really inspired our people over centuries. But we also find another form of strength in our Hanukkah story. For about 500 years after the Maccabees, our sages teach another story about Hanukkah, about the light that we get from our Chanukiah when the oil lasts 8 nights instead of 1 night. And so when our rabbis are experiencing living in a time where they're suffering defeat after defeat after defeat and living in exile from their home, they're able to really teach us about how we can have a sense of hope and belief when we exist in the darkness. And to me, it's no coincidence that, of course, our winter solstice, our darkest time of year, happens right at the same time when we have our holiday of light. And that we also, every night, recite this prayer, Ma'ariv Aravim, which not only blesses the light and the morning, Ma'ariv Aravim is actually our blessing of the night, because our tradition recognizes that there's an interconnected relationship between day and night, and of course, that in some ways light only exists from and with the darkness. And so as we begin or prepare to celebrate Hanukkah in just a few days, I want to invite all of us to learn both from the Maccabees, the idea of creating light through action, but also the lesson from our sages that sometimes, even in the darkness, we have to really believe and hope that the light will come. And so we're going to join together in these words. First, on the bottom of 31. Let's read together. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We rise for our prayer of oneness, Shema, on page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
I actually want to invite some of our students, so you can sit, who don't know that I'm inviting them, but I see some sixth graders who are here. I also see a student who just had her bat mitzvah 2 weeks ago, Emmy Rapp. I also see one of our students, where's Jake Henderson, who's leaving for Israel to have his bar mitzvah there. So Jake, will you come up and help us lead the Via Hafta? Emmy, will you come up? My sixth grade friends right here, will you come up and help lead us in the Via Hafta? We are on page, and of course, my sixth grade friend here, we're on page 36.
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, ושרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם
על מזוזות ביתך
ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
With the holiday of Hanukkah only a few days away, we're starting to feel some of the light now. And we may be transported back to this legend, which Rabbi Bernie reminded us, of when the Maccabees revolted against the Greek Syrians in the 2nd century BCE. They had nothing left. They came back to their temple. It was desecrated. But what they did find was this one cruse of oil. And this one cruse of oil was a miracle. It didn't last one night. It didn't last 2 nights. How many nights did it last? Okay. It lasted 8 nights. It lasted 8 nights, exactly. Jewish tradition is rich with miracles. Believe it or not, this is not the only miracle in our tradition, especially in dark times. We have Hanukkah, yes, but there are others. There's the bush that burned aflame but not consumed. The Jews who evaded extinction during the story of Purim. There was actually this iconic shofar blast that was blasted during the time of Joshua in the Battle of Jericho. And perhaps most iconic, the splitting of the Red Sea during the Passover story. Contemporary poet David White writes in his poem, Blessing for the Light, about the miracle of light and how it can awaken us to the power and wonder of being alive and how it is essentially a miracle. He writes, I thank you, light, for the subtle way your merest touch gives shape to such things I could only learn to love through your delicate instruction. Each miracle in our tradition, whether Purim or Hanukkah or Passover, is special in its own unique way. Hanukkah may soon teach us that what binds us to each of these miracles, and what binds each of these miracles together, is that even in the darkest times, light comes next. Mi Chamocha can be found on page 40. We'll join together in our Song of Miracles.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. I want to express my thanks to Rabbi Lisa Burney for leading us in clapping on the 2 and 4.
It might
I don't
be my
even know if
biggest
she knows she did
accomplishment.
it.
It might be my biggest accomplishment here at Leo Beck Temple.
We are Jews, sufferers through hundreds of centuries, and clapping on the 2 and 4 is usually entirely too happy and too cool for us Jews. But not tonight at Leo Beck Temple. You're clapping on the 2 and the 4, ladies and gentlemen.
Progress. Well, we are now going to move into our nighttime prayer, the recognition that sometimes the darkness can be scary, but we face that darkness by being together as one family and one community. And so words can be found for the Hashkivenu on the bottom right-hand corner of your supplements. Let's sing together.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom, Lishalom. V'ha'amidenu Malkeinu L'chaim.
Rosalenu sukat shlomecha.
Prosaleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Prosaleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Amen.
Shelter us beneath thy wings.
Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
In a moment, we'll join together in the Amidah. This is our standing prayer. It's meant to be our conversation with God, our conversation with whatever you believe is bigger than you, maybe even a conversation with yourself. And what I love about praying the Amidah is that there's something really sacred about prayer when we're together as a community and hearing all of our voices together. But there's also something really personal about prayer that's meant to be just between you and yourself, or you and something bigger that this prayer recognizes as well. And so we get to say it together as one community, but we also invite you to just have some quiet time as well on your own and say whatever it is that you need to hear, whatever it is that you need to say to yourself as we greet this Shabbat. We are on page 46 and invite you to please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
Page 50.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך? מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
2.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue in silence through page 62. You can be seated whenever you're ready.
How strange and yet how perfect that our festival of light falls at the darkest time of the year. We bring the light. Our ancestors were the ones who rekindled light, the light of our tradition, the light of community, by rededicating sacred space that had been desecrated by those who sought to put an end to this, our way of being. And so we celebrate the rekindling of that light every year here amid the darkness. If you think about it in terms of history, you'll recognize why this holiday lasts 8 days. When Sukkot rolled around back then, Our people weren't able to celebrate it because the sanctuary had been desecrated, and their opportunity to gather as a community, as we just did a couple of months ago, to celebrate the fall harvest, they couldn't do it. And so, upon regaining control over their communal lives, they said, Sukkot's not going to be missed this year. We're going to celebrate it, and we're going to light 8 candles to walk our way through that fall holiday, lift it back up, say we are still here. That's one kind of darkness that we have eradicated with this light. But we here living in 2022 know of plenty other kinds of darknesses. In our world, in our country, throughout our state and throughout our city, and most especially that darkness that resides inside each one of us. Sometimes it's that darkness of fear, wondering what the future might be, wondering what my life might look like, wondering how many days I might be blessed with and how might I fill them, what might I miss. All of this, the darkness that we come to bring light to banish. And so when we're kindling those lights, starting just a couple of nights from now, we are going to be growing in light. There was a great debate among the sages of the Talmud about whether we should start by kindling 8 candles, and then on the second night kindle 7, and then kindle 6. Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, it's only ridiculous because the house of Shammai voted for that. And the house of Hillel said, no, why don't we do it the other way? Let's start with 1, and then we'll do 2 on the next night. And because you guys are all yekas who know how this is done, you know that the house of Hillel won that debate. The way they won that debate was by making the great argument that the light should always be growing, not diminishing. We'll do it with our eyes by watching the light grow, and then maybe we'll do it with our lives. This year, the winter solstice falls exactly in the middle of our festival of light. The darkest day of the year will be on Wednesday, right at the halfway point of Hanukkah. And I want you to think about that as you're kindling your lights this year. Day by day, as it's getting darker and darker outside, your Chanukiah will be getting brighter and brighter and brighter until our collective act of banishing darkness makes that trend turn around. And on nights 5, 6, 7, and 8, not only will the light be growing on your Chanukiah, but it will be growing out there. And I hope growing in here. We need to be the light.
Be the light. Be the light inside the darkness. Be the hope burning bright into the night. Be the voice for those who cannot raise it. Be the one who leads the way through the world's darkest days. Be the light. Be the light. Be the light. When days feel long and all that's left inside you are darkest days, reach for the light to guide you. The miracle of change begins with sparks of light we find within. We shine. We shine. a people strong, a shared humanity, to transform darkness into light, to lead with love instead of might. We shine. We shine. Be the light. Be the light inside the darkness. Be the hope. Burning bright into the night. Be the voice. For those who cannot raise it, be the one who leads the way through the world's darkest days. Be the light. Be the light. Be the light.
Oh, say shalom. Bimroma.
Oh, say shalom.
Bimroma. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Alleluia. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down. Oh, say shalom.
Oh, say shalom. Bimroma. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom.
Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom.
Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Alleluia.
May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace
bring peace down, bring
peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring
peace down.
Soon we will turn in our Sidurim to page 253 for the Misha Berach prayer. We just sang Oseh Shalom Bimromav. May the one who brings peace into the high places, wherever that may be, and bring it down to the low places where we are. And it seems simple, but I think the reason why we sing this every Shabbat is because the world's not yet completely full of peace. And the world's not yet completely full of healing. And so every time we sing Oseh Shalom, we're actually offering a little prayer for healing. So before we offer a Misha Berach Lecholim, if there's someone in your life who you're thinking of, who is in need of either healing of the body, or healing of the spirit, or healing of the mind, I invite you to share their names with our community, either out loud or in your hearts, as our eyes meet. Mishaberach can be found on page 253. We'll join together in one community.
May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
A refuah shlema, a speedy and full recovery to all who are in need of it. We'll all say together, Amen. We'll now turn to the Aleinu found on page 282, and we'll rise as we are able.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד.
Some words to help us prepare for the recitation of Kaddish this evening, words about the light of life. can be found on page 289. Light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty, but soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our lives are full. But as night follows day, the candle of our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. And yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. As we prepare to recite the Kaddish prayer this evening, we remember especially Howard Axelrod, Martha Fetchheimer-Bierman, Lucy Berkowitz, Jacques Brazy, Carol Brown, Ben L. Cohen, Dora Davidson, Irving Felder, Stephen Feig, Annette Levine Fritz, Eva Goldman, Magda Hegeshi, Michael Shaw Jacobs, Ralph Koplov, David Lovner, Cyrene Luber, Jacob Remus, Floricel Ingala Renardo, Ruth Resnick, Judy Singer, Samantha Allison Stein, Adi Winbuehler, Lillian Yalowitz. Are there other names we should include? If so, please speak them aloud. We think as well of all those who we name in our hearts and all those who have perished as victims of violence, innocent victims, in a world that we must nourish toward peace. And holding them all close at heart, we say, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, the memory of the righteous is an everlasting blessing. As together we give thanks for the blessing of life with the words of Mourner's Kaddish, found on page 294. If you're able, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, u'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, amen. The giver of peace, send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us, and let us together say,
Amen.
Amen. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.